Hello and welcome to the Knock On KCLR Sports Weekly Rugby Podcast. Joining us every week, of course, James Blanchfield from Kilkenny, Tom Crotty from Carlow, and Paddy Browne from Tullow. How are you, lads?
Hi, Stephen.
How are you?
How's it going? Well, we won't mention the Six Nations, but we've got URC to look forward to this weekend, albeit with sort of not full strength teams and that, a lot of the internationals being rested and all that sort of stuff, but at least something on the telly to watch. But you're busy in your own clubs and that as well. There's Towns Cup and J2s, J3s, all sorts of stuff going on. James, we'll start with you. We'll start with Kilkenny. Your J2s and J3s are out this weekend.
They are, yeah. I think they are actually. Well, I tell you what, I'll just start actually summarising youth rugby last weekend, because it was a youth rugby weekend, and we won a bit of silverware in the club last week, Stephen, which was great. It kind of validates and kind of helps the young fellas and young girls celebrate their contributions over the season. I suppose our under 14 girls had a very big win in the Leinster League final against Clane, paid in Naas last weekend. I think the final score was 49 points to nil. They became, not only 2 weeks ago, they became the first Kilkenny youth girls team to win the trophy. Now they're after winning 2 trophies in 2 weeks, so well done to all of them. Really great performance by 25, 26 young girls. Come through to youth rugby last year, or minis last year, come through to youth rugby this year, and to bring a little bit of silverware back to the club. Another one was our under 18 boys, who played Portlaoise in the Division 1 Leinster League final on Sunday in Athy. Before I just say anything else, condition of the pitches in Athy were incredible last week, really have to say. And Paddy, I know your 18 boys were also were on the other pitch in Athy, and I took a look at that, and just the grounds in Athy looked in great condition, so kudos to whoever in Athy looks after the grounds. But it was a big win for us. We were 22 points to 12 up at half time, and the final score was, or 25 points to 12, and the final score was 25-22. Named quite a strong team, and of the team, there's only, of the starting 15, they only lose 3 from next year's under 18s, which bodes well for next year. Started up front, Rory Dunn, Ian MacDonald, who I need to mention as being a cracking little hooker, absolutely fearless, and really stands up for his teammates. Mark Power was team captain at Tighthead. In second row, we had Dermot Matthews Downing and Gavin O'Neill. Again, Gavin O'Neill had a huge game. Back row, Conor Deegan, Killian McElwee, Leinster youth player, and Oisin Barry. With Patrick Kennedy at number 9, Rory O'Carroll at out half, John Kennedy and Killian Dunphy on the wings, Daniel Ring and Dylan Brennan in the centre, and Fergus O'Connor was full back. Dylan Brennan scored some unbelievable tries in the first half, length of the field tries. On the bench, Alex Dooley, Albert Birdle, Aidan Matthews Downing, Cougar Costa, Liam Davis, Conor Murray, Luke Kerwick and Cooper Delaney. I just think it's important to mention all those young fellas, because they've really put in a lot of hard work over the year. And our under 18s had a difficult start to the season. At their first training of the season, they had 6 players. They were struggling to get teams out early in the season because of guys hurling and so forth. And we're kind of come now the whole way through the season to win the league. So it's a great achievement for all of the players, for all of the coaches. But I think really good thing for the future is so many of them are under 18 again next year. The guys who are up to age will probably go away and play under 20s elsewhere next year. Daniel Ring may be going to Lansdowne, we believe, depends where he goes to college. Mark Power, we're not sure, but Mark Power could potentially be our first 15 loose head for us next year. But look, we just want to congratulate them all on an absolutely brilliant win. They absolutely deserved it, even though they didn't score in the second half. They probably played the smarter, more attacking-minded rugby and left Portlaoise with too much to do in the second half to take the win. But look, it's just well done to the lads. Elsewhere, it was nearly a clean sweep last weekend in youth rugby for us. Our under 16 girls beat De La Salle St Mary's 40 points to 12. Our under 18 girls lost to Rhinos Under 13 boys beat North Meath. Our under 14 girls, as I mentioned earlier on, beat Clane to win the league. Under 18 boys beat Portlaoise 25 points to 22. The under 15 boys beat RD 45 points to 38. And our seconds 15 had a game against Carlow, which they won 32-15. What else is going on? Just want to note that our tag rugby entry for our tag rugby tournament has reopened, and if anybody wants to enter a team, do so. They are filling up very, very quickly. Generally we get 24 teams into that tournament, so if anyone wants to enter, please do so. You can find the link on the socials. It's €350 a team, starting from the 1st of May, and runs through for I think about 7-8 weeks. It's actually great fun. St. Patrick's Day parade on Monday. It was Monday. All of our minis boys and girls were out in force there. I think we had about 70 or 80 kids marching in the parade, assisted by parents. Our 100 club, this week's inductee was announced as Dave O'Connor. Dave made his first debut in 2006. Now, electronic score sheets only came in 2011 or 12. So there's probably 5 or 6 years there that of appearances that aren't registered, albeit he played away in Wall Wesley and Setonians for a couple of years. He's officially at 128 caps, but I would definitely say you could probably put another 20 or 30 on top of that as well. He's the heartbeat of the club and the heartbeat of the playing group in our club. I think Dave is now about 37, nearly 38. He might give me a kick in the arse when he sees me. I might put a bit too much on that, but he's certainly the heartbeat of our club, heartbeat of our team. Probably one of the best known people in the club because of the respect that he gives to everybody from minis the whole way through, and everybody knows him because he's always on hand to give a helping hand, do some mentoring with coaches and take teams on and give teams additional coaching and so forth. I need to mention, pass our condolences to Noel Devlin. Noel is our very well-known CCRO. He organises our disco. You could go to the club at any time of the day or night and Noel will be there. But Noel's mother, Teresa, passed away earlier this week. So we send our condolences to Noel, to his wife, Trish, to his sons, Ben and Ned, who are both players, and to Noel's daughters as well. It was just a sad time, but there was a great Kilkenny RFC turnout at the funeral yesterday. Interesting came through there today that the Dublin Colours game was played on Wednesday night, and we had 4 girls involved in it, 2 with Trinity and 2 with UCD. Clara Whelan Fox, Megan Fallon, Lucy Hart and Beatrice O'Shea were all involved. Nice little thing for the club. It's probably the first time we've had representatives from Kilkenny RFC involved in that game, so it's a nice one to be involved in. And yeah, Stephen, you referred to Cup Rugby happening this weekend. There's been a lot of activity around that. Both J2s and J3s have been training fairly well for the last couple of weeks. I know the J3s had a run out last night. I know there's a few relics have come out of retirement to dust down their boots. I believe Michael Boyd might be there, Killian Everard, Julian Hughes, Simon O'Hara, Towns Cup winner Simon O'Hara, and several others tugging out for the J3s. So we wish them the best. I think it's RD at home at 2 o'clock on Sunday, and we wish them the best in that. And the seconds have Cup coming up as well. So we wish them the best as well. And I'll leave it at that for Kilkenny for this week.
No worries. Thanks for that, James. And good luck to all those teams at the weekend. J2's taking on Edenderry.
Actually, do I have the fixtures for this week? Actually, for this weekend, they haven't been issued yet. But what do we have? Yeah, the J2s are away to Edenderry at 2 o'clock. The under 15 boys play Tullamore in Kilkenny on Saturday at 3 o'clock. The under 14 girls are in the Cup on Saturday. The under 16 boys are at home to Wexford Wanderers in the league. The under 18 boys have a rematch of the league semi-final against Wexford in the Darcy Cup. Now that's going to be a cracking game because we just about beat Wexford in the league semi-final. They have a fantastic out half, a really, really glorious out half, and I'm sure that that's going to be a cracking game of rugby as well. Kick-off there is at 1 p.m. in Wexford. The under 14 girls have Gorey setting the cup. The under 16 girls have a friendly against New Ross at 11 a.m. at Kilkenny on Saturday. And I think that's relatively it. The third, as I said, the thirds are out on Sunday in the cup.
Good stuff. Excellent stuff, and good luck at the weekend and that as well. And as James was saying, check out Kilkenny Rugby Club's social media sites for details on their Tag Rugby. As a Tag Rugby veteran myself, I can tell you it is great old crack. I played it up in Carlow there for years when it was at its height. It's great old crack. And if you want a gentle introduction to rugby, if you're a fan of it and you want to throw a ball around and not get too damaged, Tag Rugby is a bit of crack. Great.
We probably pick up, and the other side of it, Stephen, is we probably pick up a player a year to go through to play adults rugby or women's rugby. So it's good. Yeah.
See one or two with good hands, you're like, come here, want to have a chat?
Yeah.
Do you play the old
last
rugby?
year? Last year we actually had a little story. We had a tag rugby tournament, and there was a fella playing with the Kilkenny Garda team, and he was lighting the pitch up. And I kind of looked at him and I said, Jesus, that fella plays rugby. And I went over to him and I said, are you based in Kilkenny? And he goes, no, I'm based in Limerick. So I kind of stood back and I actually took a look at him, and here was me trying to recruit him to come play with us. Who was it? Byrne, the Munster hooker. I never felt like such a flunker in my whole life.
Familiar, all right.
That's what I said to him. I said, Jesus, sorry.
Jesus, yeah. I didn't recognise it with your clothes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Thanks for that, James. Have a good weekend.
You too. See you, lads.
Thanks a million. James Blanchfield, Rugby Club. Paddy, we'll go to Tullow next because you were meant to be in Downs Cup action last weekend, but your opponents conceded and you're on to the next round.
Yeah, unfortunately, Skerries, who had their match deferred from the previous week, actually conceded and gave us a walkover last Saturday or last Sunday, and very unfortunate set of circumstances which I mentioned here before. But the original deferring of the match was due to a club bereavement, a young 19-year-old player who died tragically, and so. When they came to play the refixed match last Sunday, the team were still very upset, and they felt that in the circumstances they weren't in a position to fulfil the fixture. So it was a very big trauma for the club, and our thoughts and prayers go out to them. It's very unusual for a proud big club like Skerries to concede a match like that, but obviously the circumstances dictated, and it was very sad. So look, I'll come back to a bit of a preview of that match after I go through last weekend's other fixtures, but we are now, as a result of that, playing Gorey in the quarterfinals next Sunday. But I'll come back to that in a moment. Just the other happening things that happened last weekend were largely at the youth level. Our under 13 boys made the long journey to Carlingford and had a big win, 37-7, and put them in. They now ended up in third place in their league. Our under 14 boys hosted Edenderry and had a huge win, 40 points to 10, and as a result they're now in the quarter-final of the Leinster Plate. The under 15 boys had a cracking South East Cup semi-final win over a good Wexford side, 31-29 by all accounts, which was an absolute cracker. So they're into the South East final now. The under 16 girls, and Tom might talk about that, went down to Enniscorthy 7-20, the Rhinos. Our under 18 boys were in the Division 2 final in a tie. James mentioned his team there in Division 1. Our second team were in the Division 2 final and against Naas seconds, and it was a cracker of a match. And it ended up 8 points to 5, and Tullow had lots of chances to win it near the end, but the Naas defence was excellent. So there was a huge crowd at the game, and I go along with what James said there. The three under 18 finals were there: the Premier, the first and the seconds. There was a massive crowd there, and I organised it very well, and the place was looking very, very well. The under 18 girls had a big win over Kilkenny. James mentioned that's in the Leinster Plate quarter final. The Rhinos 40 points to 10, and they're now in the semi-final against Enniscorthy. I mentioned the J1's men was conceded by Skerries. Our J2 men had a kind of a match against Rathdrum on Friday night under the lights, and it was a tight match. We were 28-7 up at half time, but Rathdrum came out a different team in the second half and came back at us. We ended up winning with 35 points to 26, and it was good preparation to have this South East League running. It's good preparation for the Seconds Cup, which comes up at the weekend, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Our women, the J1 team had no match, but the women hosted Cooke from Belfast, who made the long journey down, and a big win, 64 points to 5. So that's leaves us bottom of the table, and we have one match left against Wicklow in 2 weeks' time. So it's not looking great for them. But it's, as I said before, they put up a gritty performance, and the performance in the last 4 or 5 matches certainly was a great improvement, and it is a cause for some encouragement among the players, and they're really enjoying their rugby. Looking forward to the weekend then. The under 13 boys are in the McGowan Cup semi-final or quarter-final, and no pressure because they won the McGowan Cup the last 2 years, so they're in the semi-final, and they're hosting Newbridge at 12 o'clock on Saturday. The under 14 Rhinos are home to Wicklow. The under 18 boys are away to Dundalk in the Leinster Cup on Saturday, and the under 18 A boys will hope to recover from their narrow defeat last week and played the Arklow and the Black Gates on Saturday. The under 18 Rhinos are away to Enniscorthy, and the other youths matches, the under 14 boys are away to Navan on Sunday in the Leinster Boys Plate, and the under 15 boys are away to Port Harlington also in the Plate. They're both on Sunday. So that brings us to the J2s. The J2s are playing on Saturday against they're hosting New Ross in Tullow at 3 o'clock. And this after the win against Rathdrum, they're quite hopeful. They've put a few good performances on, so they're hopeful of a good run in the Seconds Cup. The team briefly is Fiat Kavanagh, the front row Fiat Kavanagh, Shane Murphy, Jack Rogers. Second row Tom Hughes, Dylan Thomas. Back row Jay Leonard, Tide McCarthy, Killian Murphy. Scrum half Sean Nolan, out half Paul Canavan. Number 11 Morris Logue Jr., Billy Lawler, Conor Kelly, and Jack Johnson, and fullback Keane Leonard. And the subs, well-known name there, Aho Broomfield is in the subs, along with Shane Duffy, Conor Elliott, James Nolan, Jet Leonard, David Tobin, and Des McDonald. We're looking at the matches on Saturday because 5 of those players, namely, will be subbing for the first on Sunday. Fiat Kavanagh, Jack Rogers, Tom Hughes, Killian Murphy, and Paul Canavan. So we were happy to get that match on Saturday instead of Sunday. So that brings me to the first match there. As a result of the walkover from Skerries, our first now are travelling to Gorey in the quarter-final, and we played Gorey in the Cup last year and narrowly beat them down in Enniscorthy, so we're not expecting anything too handy against them. They tend to be a good Cup team. The team going down is Scott Gallback, Dan Culleton and Tom Cashin in the front row. Second row Colin Gorry, Martin Cole. Back row Joe Waters, Jack McDonald, Stevie Smith. Scrum half Ryan O'Neill, and he's normally on the wing, but he's standing in for Garrett Fitzgerald, who was an absolute fixture for the last few seasons at scrum half, is out injured and may be out for the rest of the season. Certainly going to miss the next few matches, and he would be a big loss. He's a great Cup player. Number 10 Peter Burgess. In the three quarters then Shane Rowan, Adam Johnson, Ryan Jordan, and Jack Hanlon, and fullback Adam Burgess. The subs are Fiat Kavanagh, Jack Rogers, Fiat Byrne, Philip Byrne, Jack Johnson, Killian Murphy, Paul Canavan, and Tom Hughes. And as I said, 5 of those subs are playing in the Seconds Cup on Saturday. As I mentioned, the positional changes there. Garrett is out and Ryan goes in at scrum half. William O'Brien is also injured, and he would have been, I'd say, featuring in the subs. That's Sean's brother. And Sean himself did play against the tie and struggled after that match. So it looks like the injuries have caught up with him. He won't be featuring for the rest of the season. So that's a pity. But that hip injury that he has been carrying for a long time is really coming against him now. So yeah, the semi-final time, and Tom will be talking, I'm sure, about Carlow, but the 4 semi-finals are down Sunday. We were away to Gorey, a tire away to Dundalk, I think, and Wicklow hosting Wexford, and I'm sure Tom will talk about their match. But so it'll be interesting to see who gets through there and what the semi-final draws are. The semi-finals down for the 6th of April, so it's a 2-week break. So we're really into the ticket things now. So yeah, big excitement for that on Sunday. And, so for us, all roads lead to Clonatton in Gorey. Finally, then, just again to mention, to congratulate our two former players, Dannah O'Brien and Katie Corrigan, who retained their places in the Irish women's squad. So congratulations to them. So that's an update on all things Tullow. Stephen?
Good stuff, Paddy. Best of luck in those games at the weekend. Tense times as well, I suppose, trying to defend that crown, and brings a bit of added pressure with it as well. Pity to hear about Sean, but I do know he's been struggling with that hip for quite a while. So, best wishes to him as well as he recovers from that. But he no doubt will be involved heavily in everything to do with Tullow at the weekend. We'll go on to Carlow now. Tom Crotty's there. Tom, you're in town to Cup action this weekend as well. Your J2s are in action. Your J3s are in action. Jeez, I might get a game myself if I polish off my boots or good phone.
Yeah, all squads are everyone's out this weekend. We have our J2s are travelling. They're travelling down to Enniscorthy or down to Wexford tonight to play Wexford in the Southeast semi-final. Strong enough squad going down. Have been training well, so we'll kind of wish them the best of luck. They're missing one or two players, but still a strong side gone down. So hopefully they'll do the business. Our J3s then, they're out on Sunday at home to Longford. Again, like James was saying, there's a lot of lads back and pulled out of the woodwork. Pulled out of the woodwork for that one. So they've been training them just because of the age and some of the lads, and coming back, they're taking handy and just training once a week. They're training their Friday nights at 7:30. But we wish them the best of luck. Then on to the J1s, we're away to Boyne, which is no easy task. It's a tough place to go to, up to the Shamrock Lodge. Boyne won the Division 1B and they're now promoted back up to 1A. Have a solid side. I think they've kind of regrouped over the last year. They were thereabouts last season. We had good wins against them last season, but we know they're after regrouping and pulling players back, and have been very successful in their own division. As I say, any team that's after winning 1B is definitely a threat. So look, we've full side going back. Good news for us is we have Johnny Murphy is back on board. Johnny had been out all season with a knee injury, but then in the wisdom of modern medicine has discovered that when they looked at his MRI again, they saw a scar, thinking that it was a tear in his knee, and it wasn't. It was the operation that he got a couple of years back. So there was nothing wrong with him, and he's missed nearly the whole season, sitting on the sideline, and nothing wrong with him.
Lovely.
So an unfortunate series of events. Look, these things happen, but Johnny's back in and will hit the bench. So I got through the team there for Sundays. Paddy Rogers, loose head. Scott Neal, hooker. Ty Gronin is in as tight head. Wesley Shirley, number 4. John Lyons, 5. Cormac McGalley at 6. Reece Edgell is starting this week. Reece has been playing really well since he hadn't played for a couple of years and was off in New Zealand and Australia, enjoying himself and working away. So he's back and is having a good season, and he's starting at 7. Joel Brown is 8. Dan Crotty is 9. Brian Broderick 10. Jamie McCabe. Jamie's back after injury. He missed a game against Longford. Will Casey's going in at 12. Dave McDermott 13. Jonathan Crosley's in at 14. Ben Crotty 15. The bench then is Evan Gordon, Keelan Fitzhenry, Connor Tracy, John Murphy, and Alan Owens. So all we can do is fingers crossed and as I said, Boyne, with the greatest respect for them, they're a damn good side. They were a good side last year. We probably got a bit of the rubber green and played, had 2 good games against them, but they were very close games, both games up there and in Carlow. So, as I said, we have the greatest respect for Boyne, and we know cup is cup, and you can get any results can come out of a cup match. But look, we'll go up, and it's up to the lads to give it a lash. If they play the way they can play, they've a good chance as any team of getting through. So, look, it's a cup quarter final, and Paddy knows that they had the run last year, and they know how important these games are. Just to you have to play your best you can afford. We probably didn't play as well as we wanted to play, as I said last week against Longford. But hopefully now, as I said, we trained well. We'll have a light session, a team run tonight, and then let's relax and rest up and prepare then for Sunday. That's all of the senior end of things. On the youth fixtures, wasn't a whole lot last weekend. The under 13s had a very good win in the league over a tie. That was a tight game, 26-29. As the Rhino under 16 girls, they lost it to a strong and a Skerries side. Then the under 18 girls, the Rhinos had a really good win over Kilkenny in the plate in Carlow the other day. So they had tries from Megan Doyle, Hannah Kelly, Chloe Crotty, Grania Kavanagh, Colleen O'Dwyer, and Molly Sheridan. Great win for the girls, but I just wanted, I know James is not on, but can I just say that under 18 Kilkenny team, they've been putting that team together for a while and have really improved. They were probably one of the best defending sides for a long time in the game. For girls that are a lot of the girls hadn't played through minis like some of the other Kilkenny teams, like as James said, his under 14s are very strong. But I have to say hats off that the Kilkenny girls were extremely good side and played from, the result mightn't show it, but they played from the first whistle to the last whistle, and I said to their coaches afterwards as well, full confidence to them, they're playing in a lower division than we were as well, but they were a lovely side to play against, and hats off to Kilkenny for keeping them going. I think there's a few girls there that plenty of potential going forward, and their own girls then had a cracking game. They're now facing Enniscorthy in the plate semi-final. That should be next weekend, and then they're in the Leinster League final then on the 5th of April in Donnybrook against on the 5th of April. I think it's in Carlow, IT or SETU on the 5th of April. That's the Leinster League final. So that's really it from the results from last week. The youth fixtures then for this week. The under 14 girls are playing Wicklow and Tullow. The under 13 boys are at home to Port Leash at 11 o'clock. The under 14s are playing New Ross at home at 2 o'clock on Sunday. The under 16 boys are away to Wicklow on Saturday at 3 o'clock, and then a big game on Saturday at 12 o'clock. Our under 18s team are playing Navan in the under 18 cup. I got to see Navan play up in Midland Warriors a couple of weeks ago, and they're a very, very strong side. So I think that's going to be a ding-dong battle, and because for as much support as possible for anyone's listening to come up on Saturday at 12 o'clock to give the lads a shout out, because that's going to be a very, very tough match, and that's a really important trophy as well. That competition at under 18s, it's a fantastic tournament to watch, and every year I get to watch the final up in Donnybrook, and there's been some magnificent teams playing in the finals over the last couple of years. I think Ty won, they beat Dundalk beat Dundalk 2 years ago, and Dundalk were out and out favourites. They were after winning the league, and they won their area league, and Athy stuck it to them and put them out. Beat them in the final. They were unbelievable, and Wicklow had a really strong side last year. That's on the May Bank Holiday weekend. Actually, if anyone is interested in youth rugby on the Bank Holiday Monday, if they're doing nothing, it's always worth the trip up to the Energy Park to watch the youth finals from all across Leinster, all the clubs from ourselves, Tullow, whoever else, you name a club, they'll be up. Always have one or two representatives. So hopefully, if anyone's around on that May Bank Holiday weekend, there'll be plenty of notice if they're doing nothing and want to watch some really good rugby. And as I said, the finals are in Donnybrook. That's really all from Carlow at the moment. I just want to wish all our teams and wish Paddy the best of luck and Gorey on Sunday, and James and Kilkenny and the best of luck in their J2 and J3 games.
Thanks, Tom, and the same to you. Hopefully we'll still both be still alive after Sunday.
I don't know about you're going white, but I'm definitely losing the last of my grey hairs. It used to be last of my coloured hair. Now it's losing the last of my grey hairs. They're going white.
Stress, absolute stress with all.
Yeah,
that's it. Nervous times.
Yeah, because we've actually just, I don't know if you knew that the relegation playoff is next Saturday in Gorey against Wexford. Yeah, that's fixed now for Gorey next Saturday. So we've two games, bang bang.
Yeah.
And wouldn't mind, but it's really strange, because Boyne, as I say, we're playing Boyne in the Towns Cup, and they're one Division 1B, and we have to play the playoff then against the second runners. No easy game here.
No.
Anyway, we never do things easy.
Never straightforward, Tom.
Yeah.
Never straightforward at Carlow. Lads, the best of luck in all the games this weekend.
Thanks, Stephen.
It's all positive when we're talking again next week. Paddy Browne, Tom Crotty, and James Blanchfield from Kilkenny was on with us as well. We'll catch up with you all next week around the same time. Take care.
Thanks,
Take care, Stephen.
Thanks, Paddy.